And welcome back, everybody, to Track Talk. That's right. It's been a few years or more, but we're bringing it back here today via Zoom. Steve Kaplowitz with you right now as we begin hour number 2 here on Sports Talk. But we like to call this Track Talk because a very familiar face and voice is joining me right now because he was alongside me for years at Sunland Park Racetrack when we were doing this, because then he was the director of race operations. Now, what is he? He is the voice of Sunland Park Racetrack. That's right. Eric Alwan back with us for another go-around. First off, great to see you, my friend, via Zoom. And I'll tell you what, it's nice to have Track Talk back on 600 ESPN El Paso.
You made it happen, didn't you, Steve? You made it happen.
Well, there's been some changes since the last time we did this, right? Now we're Zooming, which we didn't even know what Zoom was the last time we were together at the racetrack.
I didn't know much about it until 10 minutes ago.
Well,
this feels like CNN.
There you go.
Or Fox News. Dare I say?
Well, first off, you look great. I know you're now calling the races out at Sunland, which is something you've been doing for years at other tracks, but now it's a reality. And I was there at the track last Friday, had a chance to listen to you call the first few, and it was great. It sounds like for you, obviously, coming full circle after years of doing other tracks around New Mexico, now home here at Sunland.
Yeah, very, very rewarding. I've put my life into this industry, and it's been good to me. There's been many little rewards for it, but in order to be relevant, in a lot of businesses, maybe even in yours too, if you don't reinvent yourself, Cappy, you're dog meat. You're dead. You got to continue growing, developing, and because of those other tracks, I was able to, refine and razor sharpen my skills as an announcer. And what I bring to the table here, Steve, is just that I know the cast of characters like the side of my hand, and that's a powerful ally, and I put all those things together, but it takes a long time to get good at anything. It takes many years of refinement and study. And but I told Dustin Dix, back in 2020, before COVID hit, how appreciative I was of it, because I was so excited to get the opportunity to call a Sunland Derby. It didn't quite happen because of COVID, but it will happen this year.
That's exactly. And now that, and I always say this, if you can call horse racing, you can call anything, because you've got to be quick, fast. And that makes me wonder, could we ever see Eric Alwan calling basketball games, maybe some football games? Because, hey, sports is sports, Eric. You do play-by-play for horse racing, you could start doing anything. So any chance we could ever see you as, a basketball voice down the road?
No shot. A man needs to know his limitations. And I just do this, pretty much because I was raised on it. My father, a legend in this game, and he instilled me, a lot of the things that you need to know about racing back when I was just a little kid, a little snot-nosed kid, and he did a great job. Well, I've been working here at Sunland for 33, 32 years.
Yeah.
A little bit interrupted though because of the last couple of years. And I've seen the face of the devil. You ever seen the devil up close?
No, and have no interest in doing so either.
And you may not survive anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that can change you a little bit too, But a real appreciation for life, but I'm a little tired of traveling. So I think these Sunland gigs are where I want to just kind of wrap up my career.
Well, good. Well, let's talk about that then, because here we are. We're about 6 weeks into the live racing season. It started on New Year's of 2021. And now here we are, going into the middle of February. And you tell me, I'm looking at some of the names in terms of leading jockeys, leading trainers, and you're right. You say the sport. I feel like, some of these names are very familiar. Todd Fincher being atop the leading trainer and nearly doubling in purse totals his competitors. Alfredo Juarez Jr. having a banner meet as well as a jockey. And hey, Fincher and Juarez, they team up a lot. And so far, they're obviously delivering the goods 6 weeks into the season as far as thoroughbred racing goes.
Todd Fincher's just a powerhouse, Steve. He's when COVID hit, he was able to do very well at other tracks. So he proved his worth, throughout the country. I think he won stakes races at about 3 or 4 different tracks while we were closed. And he has the deepest, most powerful barn of thoroughbreds I've ever, possibly ever seen. But make no bones about it, Steve. I mean, COVID hurt us a great deal, a great deal, a great deal. Some of our trainers died, some left. Hopefully we'll be able to gather them all in. I see this season, Steve, as a success because we're up and going.
Yeah.
It's really quite a miracle to get going again. Because for whatever reason, Sunland was the last to get back and rolling again. Ruidoso, Albuquerque, they all got rolling, without fans, of course. But we had the longest absence, and it's a credit to the crew here at Sunland how malleable they are and how they can do many different jobs. All of us have to do more than just one job. So it shows you the talents that are here. But we have most of the horsemen that we did before, like you've noticed with those jockeys. So that's the good news.
It is good news. And thus far, as you look at again, some of the numbers, I like seeing familiar names at the top, which is what I see right now. And interestingly enough, and you mentioned it, COVID has taken its toll on everybody here at the track, whether it's trainers, jockeys, so on and so forth. What about the fact that nowadays, Eric, it is so easy to virtually become part of the meet? You can wager at home on an app. You can watch via, your house, the track. So ultimately, I still say live sports, there's nothing better. Horse racing, just like every other sport, you want to see it, you want to be there so you can kind of enjoy the whole pageantry of it. But now people can basically virtually take part in the track from their house or anywhere they are right now.
That's one of the blessings of this new era that we live in, being able to watch it from home and be able to keep track and see the statistics, see the payoffs. It's almost instantaneous to be able to do that. But it affected the ownership a little bit too much. We've lost some owners as well. But what you're talking about, I mean, the ability to watch races, on a computer, is an awesome device. And to be able to study races from the past and learn things and pick up some things that maybe aren't on the printed program. Oh, it's a wonderful resource, one that we didn't have 20 years ago. So I really enjoy that.
Absolutely. As far as the racing season, now that things are back underway, is it starting to feel like business as usual around the track as far as just the races, the quality of the races?
We're very, very strong, Steve, on the top end. Okay, very strong. The stakes horses, the Todd Fincher horses. Let me give you some other names too. There's a young trainer, son of J.J. Gonzalez. His name is James J. Gonzalez III. He's a young man in his 20s, mid-20s, and he's already won 3 stakes races. So, I always tell you the truth, the whole stone cold truth about how hard things can be. But there's an example of where the baton has been, set back down through the generations. So you need that in horse racing. It used to be very, very prevalent, that horse racing would go down from a son to the grandson and so forth, We haven't seen too much of that lately, but I was really pleased to see that JJ trained his son to be such a great trainer. He's won 2 stakes races, and he's pretty good with thoroughbreds too. So that's really, really good news. We have one of the strongest jockey colonies, super competitive, tightly knitted, but I think Alfredo Juarez Jr. is poised this season to win the title because he's so experienced. I think he has between 3,500 and 4,000 career wins,
Wow.
which puts him in, an elevated atmosphere as far as, championship jockeys are concerned. Other names to remember when you're making your bets: Luis Fuentes, great thoroughbred rider; Luis Negron. On the quarter horse ledger, this Noe Garcia Jr. just lights out, super effective. And he rides a lot for the legendary trainer Fred Danley. They teamed up to win a big stakes just the other day with Lethal Avenger. So I would watch for those names too. And we have Wes Giles here, and Adrian A. Ramos rides for him. So yes, it is getting to be like normal. And I'm really looking forward to another big date that we'll have. I think it's going to be on the 27th, the Mind That Bird Derby Day, which will be the final really local prep for the Sunland Derby.
Very nice. Eric Alwan with us right now, the voice of Sunland Park Racetrack, as we continue here on Track Talk. Nancy Summers is having a really strong start to her season as a trainer. I was seeing that she's winning at about a 65% clip. That is terrific for Nancy, isn't it?
He's in the money 65% of the time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Former rider that's really picked up steam during this era that we've been in, the COVID era, the last 2 or 3 years. She's been leading trainer at Albuquerque and Zia, and she's becoming a player here as well. And she trains for Judge Lanier Racing. Judge Lanier Racing has had a real impact in New Mexico racing the last quarter of a century. They won the Arkansas Derby before everything, went bad. They own a half brother to Mind That Bird.
Oh, wow.
Called Mind That Star. And it was a heck of a way, the way they acquired the horse. They got him for a song. His horse, Mind That Star, when he was a baby, cost about, $900,000. That's more than my Lexus.
Hey, it's good to know you're still driving a Lexus. Some things never change. Some things never change. That is awesome.
Anyway, they got the horse for probably 20, 30,000. And what's he done since Judge Lanier owns him and Nancy trains him? Only about 4 out of 5 wins and a stakes win here the other day. So it's kind of fun that Mind That Bird, those genes are flowing to another horse that we can watch and wager on now. And that's because of Nancy.
One other trainer I want you to tell me about Dick Capalucci.
He's been a mainstay of Sunland for as long as I've been here, Steve. He's kind of grown up at Sunland. I think Flacco is the way he's the way his nickname is. He's been here as long as I have, probably about the same age, maybe in his mid-50s. He's become a powerhouse trainer as well. And he went out to the other parts of the country and did pretty good. He went out to Canterbury, did well at Turf Paradise. And I'm glad that, he still puts the bulk of his horses right here at Sunland.
Eric Alwan with us here on Track Talk as we continue. So you mentioned the Mind That Bird Derby coming up in a little less than 2 weeks. Do we have some strong contenders for that race that you think when it comes to Sunland Derby time could really be a force to reckon with for the Kentucky Derby prep race?
You have 2, Steve. We had the Riley Allison Derby a couple weeks ago, and it came down to a battle between 2 horses. They were 7 lengths in front of the next closest finisher. The winner was a horse called Pepper Spray. It's pretty much the king of Arizona. I hope he comes back. He's a worthy horse. He's trained by an Arizona horseman, a real wizard named Ed Caroluck. Second in the race was Todd's Star in the Making, a horse called Bye Bye Bobby, a horse that also cost big money at one time, about $900,000. And Bye Bye Bobby had to go wide in that race, very, very wide. Might have cost him the win. Those 2, if they run in the Mind That Bird Derby, I think are legitimate, and they could go on and do very well in the Sunland Derby.
I caught a glimpse of Bob Baffert's nominations for this year's race, and it was long. So it's obvious to me that with everything going on, one thing's for certain, Bob Baffert still wants to be a big part of the Sunland Derby.
Sure. What was it, like 25 head?
Yeah.
It was a long list. Dustin showed me that list. One of the horses on that list is Messier. Is that a famous hockey player?
It is Mark Messier. That's right.
The horse is pretty awesome. But even if that horse doesn't come here, Baffert's so loaded, and he's got so many strings. throughout the South, throughout Southern California and everywhere else that we would love to have his horses. And you know that when he brings a horse for the Derby, he'd also bring horses for our other races on that day, like the Oaks. And the Oaks has been enriched. It's worth more than it was back when, when we had the race. It's now worth $300,000. So that race might be a little stronger than normal.
Give me a preview of this weekend. I know we've got live racing going on here today, but what about Friday and into the weekend?
Friday's usually devoted to the quarter horses. And for those of you that like 870 races, we've reinstituted them this year. Kind of helps the racing stock last a little longer when you can have an 870-yard race. There's almost $100,000 stakes race each and every week. Since we've condensed the meet a little bit, you have the finest in stakes races here at Summit. All the big races that we had are still in play each and every week. So this Sunday is the Enchantress, and it's worth $100,000. And there's a horse that's won about 4 or 5 in a row, Belladonna, that I really love. But as you well know, whenever you change distances, when a speed horse is asked to go long, there's always those questions, whether they can navigate 2 turns or not. So there might be a chance at an upset maybe in that race.
All right, excellent. And that's, again, happening this weekend. I'm looking forward to that. Hey, it is great to kick things off on Track Talk with you again. I'm excited.
Take care of us.
You always make it feel like I never left the track, which is what it's all about. So congratulations on the opportunity now to call the races. I know it's something that you've been wanting to do here forever. So I'm happy that's become a reality. And we'll look forward to plenty of great conversations here over the next few months as we get through the 2022 meet.
You got it, sir. Thank you, Steve.